Wenonah, welcome. And wow, what an amazing story you have. Tell us a little bit about what was your life like on Orange Blossom Trail, one of the most dangerous prostitution drug districts in America.
Well, it was, definitely, God had his hand on me. My life there was filled with misery, near death, many near death times where I would be life flighted or in the hospital for getting beat up or getting close to, just very close calls to death. The devil was pulling me this way.
Right.
God was pulling me this way. This I know now. Basically, it was a fight or flight kind of life.
Okay.
You know, you had to learn to stand up for yourself, or people will eat you alive out there. It's a rough area. The thing about it is, you have something in common with most people there, and that's just trying to make it. Basically, everybody there is existing, not living. And in the very first video we did, I remember telling you that 10 years ago, that I wasn't really living, I was only existing. And that's basically the norm for everyone that's in that lifestyle on the trail.
Well, I want to talk about my favorite part of the story, and that was the night we met and how we met. I'll never forget, one of the greatest nights of my life is when we had trained a team from a local church in Orlando, Florida. We filled up like 5 cars full of people ready to go on Orange Blossom Trail to hand out our candy bags, our bling, our toiletry items, and to pray for people. And I looked out of the window of the truck I was riding in, and I spotted you. And you had that beautiful blonde hair. I'll never forget, Wenonah, you were sitting on a park bench right next to Orange Blossom Trail, and you had this big rhinestone necklace that said Barbie. And I'm telling you, we turned 5 cars around just to approach you that night and to see how you were doing and to ask you if you needed prayer about anything. Hello, my beautiful and amazing friends. I pray you are enjoying today's video. Listen, go ahead right now, subscribe to our channel, click like, ring the bell, because we have all kinds of amazing content coming your way. And thank you so much. God bless you. We found out your name was Wenonah. We prayed with you that night, and you were a church girl. You'd grown up in church, but that night you gave your heart and life back to Jesus Christ. But you shared some things so openly with us about prostitution, about a crack addiction, about not really living but existing. What can you tell about the encounter that you and I and my group of friends had with you that night on the trail?
Well, that encounter was, it was just sent by God. That was point blank it. That was just a God assignment. That was one of many God assignments. I thought you guys were asking for directions, and I never expected, you know, and I knew my mom had been praying, and that was just more proof that she had been praying, because you guys weren't asking for directions. You were trying to give me direction.
Wow.
And what you don't realize is that after that, I mean, it meant so much to me, but it was after that, during those next 3 years, that you would send people to find me, check on me.
Yes.
That was huge to me.
Yes. Oh, my
like
goodness.
in the grips of addiction, where I was fighting for my life every day, sometimes literally fighting, the fact that someone cared enough, because I mean, I could have went home. My mom was there with open arms.
Right.
But I chose to be, I just wasn't ready, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
The enemy had me bound. But God, the seed was planted.
Thank God.
And with that seed being planted, you watered it by just showing me unconditional love and God's favor, of course, because he had a purpose.
Yes, he did. And we loved you so much. And I mean, instantly. Yeah. And I'll never forget that night. You said, I'm not really living. I'm just existing. Yes. And you said, I do the crack so I don't realize I'm selling my body. I sell my body to get the crack. Yeah. And I'll never forget that night, Wenonah. You said, I'm in a cycle and I can't get out. Yes. But something else supernatural happened that night. Yes, and I said, let's call your mother. Yes. And you said, oh no, I'm not ready to talk to my mother. But you gave me your mother's phone number. Yes. And you said to me that night before I left, you said, Debra, are you going to call my mother? I said, I am. In the next couple of days, I'm going to call her. Yes. And you said, do you know what she's going to say when she answers the phone? And I said, no. You said, my mother is going to say, praise the Lord. Yes. And I'm like, oh my God, Wenonah, you have a praying mother. Yes. And after that night, I did call your mother. Yes. And she answered the phone. Yes. And I said, you don't know me. I'm a minister from Texas. Yes. But I met your beautiful daughter. Yes. And your mother's response was, you met Wenonah. Yes. I said, yes, ma'am. And I said, I want you to know we turned 5 cars around to go and to speak with and to pray with your beautiful daughter. And I said to your mom that night on the phone, I said, Mom, your prayers for your daughter, they're working. And your mom began to weep on the phone. And I asked her, I said, why are you crying? She said, because you don't know what I prayed before my phone rang tonight. Yes. And she said, I told God I will not make it through one more night unless I hear from my baby girl, Wenonah. And she said, right after I prayed, the phone rang, and it was you saying, Mom, I met Wenonah. Yes. Your prayers for your daughter are working. Yes. And Wenonah, that was a defining moment. Yes. And I wish you would talk a little bit about how there's not a whole lot of churches or Christian organizations that go into these very dark areas like Orange Blossom Trail, because you had told me very bluntly that no one really cared about you out there, and no one ever came to try to pray with you, help you get off the streets, help you break the addiction. Talk about that for a moment.
Well, that area down there specifically is so dangerous, and people are afraid, and the enemy wants people to be afraid. Let me just say that night, what you spoke over me, boldly declaring that I was coming out of addiction, yes, that stuck with me also, and that boldly, I boldly declare a lot of times over people when I pray, yes, because that same freedom that I found, yes, and that God gave me, I speak that over people, and so that's just the seed, being sown even more. But people don't go into that district because it's dangerous.
Right.
People aren't filled with the Holy Spirit, right, like they need to be, yes, in order to go in there, yes, and to have their armor on, and you have to be called for that, and if more people would open themselves up to be called, I believe God would call them. Yes. But it's just fear. Fear has overtaken our country in so many ways. Right. But the need is there more than ever. It's just getting there to do it, getting people to do it.
Hello, my beautiful and amazing friends. I hope that you're enjoying today's content. And at this time, I invite you to become a friend and a partner of our ministry as we go into some of the roughest, toughest, darkest inner cities, the drug prostitution districts of America. We'd like for you to come along with us. And you can do that through partnership. You can sponsor an outreach or even sponsor a You Matter bag that has a bag filled with hygiene items that our beautiful friends so desperately need on the streets. So check out our website, prayerfully consider partnering with us as we go forth to win souls in the darkest areas of America. God bless you. Well, it was just such a beautiful moment the night that we met you, and we put your name in our heart. And I want to talk a little bit about, you said, I boldly declared over you. And I said, because you said, I'm in a cycle. I'll never get out. And I said, I boldly declare, you're coming off of crack cocaine, you're coming out of prostitution, you're going home to your family, and you are going to fulfill your God-given purpose in the earth. And there was something about that resonated with you. It got down into the very fiber of your being. It got down into your DNA. And we wanted you to come off the streets that night. But you chose to stay on the streets for about 3 more years. But we never stopped praying for you. And anytime I was in Orlando, we would be up and down Orange Blossom Trail. Wenonah, people throw these words around in our churches like follow-up, like it's something easy. But when someone like you doesn't have a permanent address. I mean, when we say we're going to follow up, we had to pray and trust God that we would see you again. And the next time we were in Orlando, we did see you again. And you even found the video of the prayer I prayed over you on my YouTube channel, and share with the viewers what you did with that video.
I would share it with numerous dates, drug dealers, and also a reminder to myself to remember your words and what you prayed over me. And numerous times. I mean, that's probably where all those views came from. Probably my own. But I watched it over and over and shared it with so many people, and the dates and stuff back then, they would just be so, wow, they would just lay the money on the table and leave because they didn't, first of all, they didn't want to play with God. And it was just, God was just even using me then,
He certainly was. And I'll never forget one of the second times that I saw you. You were so popular on the trail. I mean, everybody knew you, Wenonah. Everyone loved you. And you had like 15, 20 friends with you that night. And you said, Debra, I found the video of the night we met and the prayer you prayed on YouTube. And you said, I've been showing it to my clients. And about the time you were telling the story, a man walked up and you said, Debra, ask him. He's one of my clients. And Wenonah, this is the kind of stuff that drives religious people and religion crazy, because people want to think, oh, well, the night that, Debra, you met Wenonah, why didn't she come off the streets that night? But Wenonah, can we give God a minute? Can we allow God to bring someone like you or someone like me through the process? And
if I wasn't really willing to call my mother, certainly I wasn't willing to get help.
That's exactly right. But you were showing the video to your clients.
And
they were crying, taking wads of cash out of their pockets, putting it on the table, and saying, Wenonah, that's all I need tonight. Good night, Wenonah. This drives a religious world crazy, because we have to allow God to give him time to finish and complete that good and perfect work he started in you. And he certainly completed it.
Yes, he has. It's still completing.
It is still complete this video.
I mean, sometimes I blow myself away.
I know, sometimes I've got to pinch myself that we met you that night with that rhinestone Barbie necklace on, that beautiful blonde hair. You weighed about 70 or 80 pounds. And boy, 3 years later, little did we know that God was going to have the final word. Wenonah, thank you so much for telling your story. I just don't know of very many people that are so open and so transparent, because you tell your story to give other people hope, especially praying family members about their loved ones. So thank you with all of my heart for just helping people break addictions, come out of prostitution, come out of those trap houses, come out of living in a world of darkness to serve Jesus Christ. Thank you with all of my heart.